Good morning, students. Let us continue the topic Indigo. Lines are from the textbook over here. When the court reconvened, the judge said he would not deliver the judgment for several days. Meanwhile, he allowed Gandhiji to remain at liberty. Liberty means freedom. Rajendra Prasad, Braj Kishore Babu, Maulana Mazharul Haq, and several other prominent lawyers had arrived from Bihar. They conferred with Gandhiji what would they do if he was sentenced to prison. Gandhiji asked. Why the senior lawyer replied they had come to advise and help him. If he went to jail, there would be nobody to advise and they would go home. Reconvent means here to start again after a small break. Liberty means free or freedom. Prominent means here important or well known. Conferred means granted. Explanation of the above passage is when the court proceedings restarted, the judge refused to deliver any judgment for many days to come. He allowed Gandhiji to remain free. Some well known lawyers like Rajendra Prasad, Braj Kishore Babu, and Maulana Mazharul Haq came from Bihar to help and advise Gandhi. Gandhi asked that if he was sentenced to jail, then what would be their course of action? One senior lawyer replied that they were there to help him out, and if he was sentenced to jail, then they would return back. Further lines from the textbook are what about the injustice to the sharecroppers? Gandhi demanded. The lawyers withdrew to consult. Rajendra Prasad has recorded the upshot of their consultations. They thought amongst themselves that Gandhiji was totally a stranger and yet he was prepared to go to prison for the sake of the peasants if they, on the other hand, being not only residents of the adjoining districts but also those who claim to have served these peasants, should go home, it would be shameful desertion. Explanation is some further lines are also they accordingly went back to Gandhi and told him they were ready to follow him into jail. The Battle of Champaran is won, he exclaimed. Then he took a piece of paper and divided the group into pairs and put down the order in which each pair was to court arrest. Some meanings are here. Injustice means here unfairness. Withdrew means left. Upshot means result or conclusion. Consultations means discussion. Desertion means here action of leaving a place or organization, etc. When Gandhiji came to know about their decision, he asked them to help the sharecroppers who were facing unfairness. Rajendra Prasad and other lawyers concluded that if Gandhi could go to jail for the people of their area, although he was a stranger, then they should also follow him as they had always claimed to serve the peasants and fought their legal battles too. They decided that if Gandhi went to jail, then they would follow too. On hearing this, Gandhiji assured them that their struggle for Champaran peasants had been won. He divided the group into pairs of two and made a sequence in which they had to voluntarily surrender in the court. Further lines from the textbook are several days later, Gandhiji received a written communication from the magistrate informing him that the lieutenant governor of the province had ordered the case to be dropped. Civil disobedience had trumped, the first time in modern India. Gandhiji and the lawyers now proceeded to conduct a far flung inquiry into the grievances of the farmers. Depositions by about 10,000 peasants were written down and notes made on the other evidence. Documents were collected. The whole area throbbed with the activity of the investigators and the vehement protests of the landlords. Lieutenant Governor means here deputy governor. Province means region or territory. Civil disobedience means peaceful form of political protest. Trumped means won. Grievances means complaints. Depositions means a formal written statement. Evidence means here proof. Throbbed means produced a lot of vibrations due to a huge crowd. Investigators means the inspectors. Vehement means showing a strong feeling or forceful, passionate, or intense. Explanation of the above passage is: after some days, the magistrate sent a letter to Gandhiji in which it was written that, as per the orders of Deputy Governor, the case against him had been taken back. It was for the first time in modern India that a peaceful protest against the government had been won. Gandhi and other lawyers carried on with an in depth investigation into the injustice with the farmers. Statements of about 10,000 pigeons were recorded and various documentary proofs were collected. The whole area vibrated with activity, the investigators and the protesting landlords. In June, Gandhiji was summoned to Sir Edward Gate, the lieutenant governor. Before he went, he met leading associates and again laid detailed plans for civil disobedience if he should not return. Gandhi had four protracted interviews with the lieutenant governor, who, as a result, appointed an official commission of inquiry into the Indigo sharecropper situation. The commission consisted of landlords, government officials, and Gandhiji as the sole representative of the peasants. Some meanings are here. Summoned means called. Leading means here prominent or popular. Associates means supporters. Protracted means here lasting for a long time or longer than expected or usual. Representative means a spokesperson or agent. Explanation of the above lines is: in June, Gandhiji was called up to be present before Deputy Governor Sir Edward Gate. Before meeting him, he met his chief supporters and made plans for civil disobedience. In case he did not return, Gandhi had four long interviews with the Deputy Commissioner, which led to the formation of a commission that inquired into the Indigo sharecropper situation. The commission had landlords, government officials, and Gandhi, who was the only spokesperson for the peasants. Gandhi remained in Champaran for an initial uninterrupted period of 7 months and then again for several shorter visits. The visit, undertaken casually on the entreaty of an unlettered peasant in the expectation that it would last a few days, occupied almost a year of Gandhiji's life. The official inquiry assembled a crushing mountain of evidence against the big planters, and when they saw this, they agreed in principle to make refunds to the peasants. But how much must we pay? They asked Gandhi. Initial means here at the start, uninterrupted means continuous, entreaty means here an earnest or humble request, assembled means here gathered. Explanation of the above lines is: Gandhiji remained in Champaran for 7 months. He also made several short visits later. His visit on the request of a peasant was presumed to last a few days, but it took a year. The official inquiry didn't favor the planters, hence, they agreed to pay back to the peasants, but they questioned Gandhi regarding the amount to be repaid. So, further explanation will be made in the next lectures. Thank you, students.